Sorry, folks. I was having to get it set up to go live on Instagram. How's everybody doing tonight? How many people out there are excited for high school football to get going? Tonight's the first night, right? Pretty crazy. It's that time of year already. I got a couple of messages here. Okay. I asked a few people to hop on, but a couple people aren't able to make it. So we'll see if anybody joins us here. But if you haven't been on my live before, my name's Jeff. If you're watching this live on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube, let me know in the comments which social media you're watching from. And as always, if you have any questions, put them in the comments. But we are live on all three platforms. So been a while since I've done this. I'm using StreamYard software. If anybody's wondering how I'm going live on three platforms at the same time, I kind of bounce around between StreamYard and Restream, trying to figure out which one's the best for me. But I do want to go into my Facebook here and make sure that this is live, and I'm going to tag some people. Yes, it does say I'm live. So let me put out highlights here, and I'll tag a few people. Hey, Susie Moat, how are you? Thanks for joining. Let's see here. If you know anyone struggling with low energy, blood sugar issues, blood pressure, maybe they're having cravings, having trouble losing weight. Maybe they're dealing with high cholesterol or high triglycerides, PCOS. Tag them in this live. Share this with them. This could be information that could change their life like it has mine and so many others. So I just want to share this with a few people here, and we'll get started. I usually depend on other people to do this, but currently I'm going it alone. So anyway, how's everybody doing tonight? Okay, so we're going to talk about insulin resistance. And as you look at this photo here, I was trying to figure out a way to make it bigger, but as you look at this photo, what on there resonates with you, right? As you're thinking, man, I have skin tags, I have high blood pressure, I have, the inability to lose weight, I'm dealing with some belly fat, or my daughter has PCOS, or I have PCOS, whatever it may be. Understand it's not uncommon. In fact, 93% of adults are dealing with insulin resistance, and 8 out of 10 don't even know they have it. That's a pretty big deal, if you ask me, because doctors aren't testing for it. So I'm hoping I'll get a couple people to join me here, but if not, we'll roll with it. So as you're looking at that, if any of those symptoms resonate with you, maybe just drop in the comments a number of how many of those you're dealing with. You don't have to tell us which ones if you don't want, but I myself, for 20 years was type 2 diabetic. I had, obesity. I was overweight, severely overweight. I had skin tags. I had sleep apnea. I had fatty liver and high blood pressure. I had low testosterone, cravings all the time, neuropathy pain. I mean, I had 10 to 13 of these problems, and I didn't know they were all connected, because when you talk to a doctor, they're going to give you a medication for each one of these symptoms. At least in my case, and most people that I've heard of, that's the way they treat, right? They treat the symptom. The doctor is chasing the blood sugar, the A1C, the cholesterol number, those types of things, instead of getting to the root cause. And what I learned recently was, no matter how much medication I took, it was never actually going to fix the problem. It would manage it, right? That's why they call it managed care. You're going to manage your diabetes, you're going to manage your blood sugar, but it was never going to fix the problem because none of the medication get to the root cause core problem, which is insulin resistance. You can be insulin resistant for 10 to 15 years before it manifests itself as type 2 diabetes or neuropathy pain or heart disease or whatever it may be. I started my journey as a type 2 diabetic, like most people, with 500 milligrams of metformin. And it progressed to where I was on max dosage of metformin and wasn't getting any better. And then they put me on Januvia and I got stage 1 kidney failure. And then they wanted to prescribe me Trulicity, and I was dealing with horrible foot pain, couldn't lose weight, started having blurry vision. And I started kind of thinking that was just the way it was going to be, right? They tell us all these things are chronic and progressive, and that's because the medication is never going to fix it. It's just going to manage it. Now, I want to say from the beginning here, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a medical professional. I am not giving medical advice. I'm simply sharing what I've learned. This is educational purposes only, but I've learned that all of these things, insulin resistance, diabetes, are a dietary disease. We do it to ourselves. We eat too much too often of the wrong kind of food, and then we never do anything to stop that glucose spike, i.e. going for a walk, doing, some resistance training, some kind of physical activity, moving our body to use up that glucose from the food we ate. And when you become insulin resistant, the liver has to put that glucose somewhere, and they put it in your fat cells. People end up with non-alcoholic fatty liver. They end up, obese, and they can't, no matter what they do, lose the weight. Sorry, I needed a drink. So if any of this resonates with you, let me know in the comments. Like, when I first started seeing this stuff, I saw it on TikTok, right? And when a guy started naming off all these problems, I'm like, yep, I have that. Yep, that's me. Yep, sounds like me every morning. Yep, getting up in the middle of the night, go to the bathroom, all these things. And I'm like, wow, like, why is my doctor, my medical professional, never talked to me about this stuff? And so I started listening to people like Dr. Jason Fung, who totally believes in intermittent fasting to reverse type 2 diabetes. And then I started listening to Dr. Benjamin Bickman, who's a top metabolic function scientist, professor at Brigham Young University. And I was learning that insulin resistance was my problem, and I needed to figure out how to get it under control. And maybe some of these things would go away. You see, oh, hold on. I don't know why it's asking me to screenshot. I wasn't trying to do that. You see, most of us are up here in this top picture. We're eating all the time, right? We've been told for years, eat 5 to 6 small meals a day, keep your metabolism up. Has anybody heard that breakfast is the most important meal of the day? Trying to see if I've got any, what's up, Dakota? Lily Beth, welcome in. So I have to look at my phone to see when people are coming in, because using this software, it doesn't let me know who they are. Have you ever heard breakfast is the most important meal of the day? Kind of funny that the people who came up with that are the people that make the breakfast food, the waffles, the cereals. Kellogg's used that as a marketing campaign to sell more breakfast food. Breakfast simply means break fast. It doesn't have to happen first thing in the morning. In fact, I break fast around noon every day, 1 o'clock. So when we're waking up in the morning and we're eating those breakfast foods, the cereals, the Pop Tarts, the muffins, the bagels, having the coffee load with cream and sugar, we're spiking our blood sugar first thing throughout the day. First thing in the morning, we wake up, we spike our blood sugar, and our insulin goes up. The pancreas secretes insulin to bring the blood sugar back down. But when the blood sugar comes back down, that's when we have the cravings and the food noise kicks in and we're hungry. So we snack again. We snack between lunch and or breakfast and lunch. And the insulin takes 3 to 4 hours to come down. So before it comes back down to normal range, you're spiking it with a mid-morning snack. And when you come down off of that, blood sugar high, it's time for lunch. So we eat lunch. And then we have a mid-afternoon snack because we had a high carbohydrate lunch and we're crashing about 2 or 3 p.m. and we think we need energy. So we eat again. And then, we get home from work and it's time for dinner and we eat again. And some of us would even sit around in the evening watching TV and snack on, cheese and crackers or chips and a soda or ice cream or an ice cream sandwich or something and spike our blood sugar again shortly before we go to bed. And when we live that way, day after day, month after month, year after year, we never give our insulin a chance to come down. When your insulin stays elevated all day long, your body can never switch to burning stored fat for fuel. That's why so many people that go on a crash diet or some deprivation diet and they'll lose 20 pounds and then they fall off the wagon and they gain 25 back because they go back to the way they were eating a month or so before. And they just, that vicious cycle over and over again. And when you're doing that every day, you're causing fat storage because your insulin's staying high. You can't burn fat for fuel. And you're causing cellular damage. Your body is storing visceral fat around all your organs. And it manifests itself in the things we were talking about earlier: diabetes, heart disease, neuropathy, migraines, PCOS. So what I recommend is taking a break from food. It's one of the best ways to become more insulin sensitive. Now, I started sharing my story when I started doing this with people on TikTok and Facebook. And this guy right here found me. And he followed what I was doing. Now, when he started watching my videos and watching my lives, he was almost 300 pounds or a little over 300 pounds, type 2 diabetic, high blood pressure, neuropathy, IBS, all kinds of health problems, on 8 or 10 different medications. And in less than 6 months, this guy dropped over 50 pounds, completely reversed his type 2 diabetes, put it in remission. And the last I heard, he was on half, and this probably has changed now, but he was on half of a blood pressure pill, I think. He got off of all of his meds. This guy now, who had debilitating neuropathy, walks 2 to 5 miles every day. Just by following a simple strategy and using a couple of tools that make the time-based eating and intermittent fasting and only eating 2 meals a day easier, and gives our body the nutrients that we need to thrive, right? Fiber, chlorogenic acid, theobromine, mate saponins, polyphenols, all these things in these tools. And the next thing you know, you're not having cravings. You're not struggling with the food noise. You're not on this blood sugar roller coaster all day long. Now, another person found me on Facebook. A friend of hers said, "Hey, you probably should listen to this guy," because she was dealing with horrible neuropathy, prediabetes, fatty liver, had psoriasis all over her body. And I don't know, 6, 8 months, she totally transformed her life. She's now down like 80 some pounds. She's doing hiking challenges and walking every day. This is someone who had neuropathy. So Michelle just put in the comments, she's lost over 43 pounds, taken off blood. I'll show you Michelle. I think she hates it when I show this picture, but she struggled with IBS horribly her whole life, inflammation, menopausal symptoms. She decided to do this. She said, she told me after I did it for the first month, she said, "Listen, I think I want to try that stuff. You're not going to get skinny without me and have all this energy and playing with the grandkids. And here I am wanting to nap every day and having no energy." So she got on it. Doctor took her off her blood pressure meds. She's not dealing with the menopausal symptoms anymore. No more hot flashes and night sweats. We have a new lease on life. In our mid 50s, we feel better than we did in our 40s, right? Here's my before photo. I'll show you it real quick. And then I'm going to explain to you what we've all been doing, right? So I was 315 pounds, type 2 diabetic, stage 1 kidney failure, high blood pressure, low testosterone, horrible neuropathy. That before picture was when I was racing, close to the end of my racing career, because I couldn't feel my feet anymore. And it's really hard to drive a race car when you can't feel your feet, right? And we all just started doing a simple, sustainable protocol. If we go back to this picture, what is that?
I don't know what that is.
Are you all seeing, like, I'm not seeing it on my screen. Are you all seeing it? Somebody let me know in the comments. Are you seeing like a picture of a storefront with a shopping cart in the corner?
It's not shown on yours there.
It's got to be something you had on your phone. Sorry, Michelle walked in. She's like, so what is this on your screen? But it's not on mine. But if we go back to this image here and we look at the bottom right-hand corner, I talked about we use a couple of tools, right? Now, these tools, I want to say they are 100% natural. There are no drugs in them. They are considered nutraceuticals. And if you've ever heard of the physician's desk reference, where it's the book, it's like the doctor's Bible of medication. It's also a website, pdr.net. All medication are listed in this physician's desk reference, right? So you can look up anything you're on, Crestor, Lipitor, Metformin, Ozempic, Wegovy, Mounjaro. The list goes on and on. All medication are listed in there. And that site tells you the risks, the side effects, the black box warnings, what medications they contradict with, right? These two tools that we use, even though they're not medication, they're nutraceuticals, are also listed in that same book. And if you look them up, you'll quickly see there are no black box warnings, no side effects. They don't counteract with any medications because they're safe and natural. There are no drugs in them, right? So we use these tools to follow this time-based eating regimen. And if you do that, you can get into fat burning and relief mode way quicker, right? So with this, most of us skip breakfast. And when I say that, a lot of people are like, oh, I can't skip breakfast, right? That's the most important meal of the day. Get your metabolism going. It gets me energized for the day. I say If you start skipping breakfast, you'll realize soon, probably it'll take about a week, but you'll start realizing you have more energy, more mental clarity, more focus, right? Now, what we do is when we wake up in the morning, we take that yellow packet and we mix it in 16 to 32 ounces of water. It's what I'm drinking now, right? What that yellow packet does is it helps you be more alert, focused. It improves cognitive brain function. It helps you become more insulin sensitive. It's a natural insulin sensitizer. It mimics metformin without the possibility of side effects. It helps increase your GLP-1 production naturally. GLP-1 is made in our gut. Hey, Brent, how you doing? GLP-1 is made in our gut. So you don't have to go get a synthetic replacement, right? You don't have to go get an injection for GLP-1. If you give your body what it needs and you give your gut time to heal, your body will produce GLP-1 on its own. This yellow packet, the yerba mate, will help you increase your production of GLP-1 by up to 67%, which is astonishing, right? When that happens, the cravings go away. The food noise disappears. You stay satisfied for longer. You're not thinking about food all the time. Therefore, the fasting becomes easier, more sustainable. You're not fighting with willpower all the time. So we wake up in the morning and we start sipping that yerba mate. And I sip on it till about lunchtime. When lunchtime comes, I break fast. And I follow the FFP rule: fiber, fat, protein. Try to keep my carbs low, right? I still eat carbohydrates, but I just don't do it to the extent I used to. Then after lunch, I'll have a second one of those yerba mates. And I sip on that between lunch and dinner, and it keeps me energized. It keeps me mentally in the game for the rest of the day, and it makes me not think about food. And when I do this, I don't have that afternoon crash where I'm reaching for a soda or a Snickers bar or whatever your vice may be for your snack, right? And then the orange packet there is a blend of plant fibers. Now, this plant fiber is not just any old fiber that you can buy off the shelf. This is a specific blend of 7 or 8 different types of fiber, both soluble and insoluble. Now, when I say soluble fiber, think of like chia seeds. If you mix chia seeds and let them soak in water for 15, 20 minutes, they'll thicken up and gelatize. Well, that's what this does in our stomach. You simply mix this bottle in like 8 ounces, or mix this pack in like 8 ounces of water, right? You shake it up 4 or 5 times and you chug it down. And then we have our food. So we've got our fiber. And then if you can eat some veggies, right, you're going to get a little more fiber, fat and proteins, and then put your carbs at the end of your meal. Well, your blood sugar starts to look like this. I got to see which way I'm pointing. Like this picture, right? I forget that this flips it. You can see here only eating twice a day compared to up here, where you're eating 5 or 6 times a day. Your blood sugar stays more stable. And your insulin does this. Instead of spiking and then come back down and you eat again. And this right here will make you more insulin sensitive. It will help you get into fat burning mode quicker. So you can start burning that extra belly fat or those jiggly underarms or whatever it may be that you're trying to burn off. And then after dinner, we simply start fasting again. For those of you that are with me, is this making any sense? Has a doctor or your dietitian ever like set you down and explained this to you? You see, so many times I've been told by diabetes educators, by nutritionists, by fitness gurus that we have to have carbs before we work out. We have to eat everything on the food pyramid to have a whole balanced diet. And we've got to eat smaller meals, but more often. I will say personally, every time I tried to live that lifestyle, my diabetes got worse, my weight never come off, and I had no energy. I have more mental clarity and more energy now at 55 years old than I did in my early 40s. Now, these two products are, let me remove a couple of these pictures here. I want to show you something. I just need to add another picture to show you. And I hate doing this after the fact. It's hard to, I don't have the slide that I wanted to show you, I don't think. Okay, so these two products are backed by science, right? We have more than 50 clinical studies proving that these work as good as or better than medication in some cases. They're third-party tested. Like I said, they're nutraceuticals. They are not pharmaceuticals. There are no drugs in them. They're patented. They can't be copied. You're never going to be able to walk into Walmart or Walgreens and find this on a store shelf. They're listed in the physician's desk reference. They're HSA and FSA qualified. Been tested at places like the Cleveland Clinic, the University of Sydney, Stanford, UNLV, Brigham Young, and so many more. It's just two products, one simple system. And if you follow this, commit to it for 90 days, the company gives you a 90-day money-back guarantee. Now I'll ask, has anyone been given a 90-day money-back guarantee from their doctor, from their pharmacist, from their personal trainer, from their nutritionist? Have any of them ever given you a 90-day money-back guarantee and said, listen, if what I'm telling you doesn't work, I'll give you all your money back? This company, this protocol is guaranteed to work. You can prove it works with blood work if you follow consistently and do it the way it's designed. And if you're not satisfied at the end of 90 days, you can simply get a full refund. Now, if anybody wants to try this protocol, you can reach out to me. You can go to my Facebook or Instagram profile and click the link there and go learn more about it. I can even, hold on, I can even put a QR code on the screen right here. You can scan that QR code and it'll take you directly to the manufacturer's website. This costs you about $5.30 a day. Most people are spending more than that on a Starbucks coffee in the morning or wherever your place is, Dunkin' Donuts, Tim Hortons. I'm here to tell you that if you follow this the way it's designed, you will save enough money in your first month to pay for the next month. This becomes cost neutral in a very short amount of time if you follow it the way it's designed. I've gotten off of 8 different medications. I no longer eat breakfast. I'm no longer drinking soda all day long. A 20-ounce soda is over $2 now. So just 3 of those a day is more than this system costs. And drinking this works with my body, helps give me sustained energy, more mental clarity and focus, and keeps me satiated. I would much rather spend $5 a day on something that works with my body than something that is slowly leading me down the path of diabetes, heart disease, and so many other things. So you can scan that QR code. You can go check it out. If you have any questions, you can always message me, send me a private message. And if you have questions, I can get you on a science call with medical professionals that explain this way better than I do. In fact, I always share them on my Facebook page on Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. We have science calls with medical professionals. But I just want people to know that if you feel like you've tried everything and nothing's really worked for you, and you're just like, this is the way it's going to be, I'm going to be on these meds forever. I felt the same way 3 years ago. I've been off all medication for 2.5 years now. And I feel better at 55 than I felt in my 40s. I'm able to play with the grandkids, go golfing, walk the amusement parks, do all the things that I wasn't able to do a few years ago because of my neuropathy and my weight. So if you're struggling, try the Feel Great system. It'll change your life. And as always, I want to thank you all for joining me. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to shoot me a message. I'd be happy to chat with you at any time. All right. Have a good night, folks. Thank you.